Hi, my name is Nacho Yescas, and I am the host of Total Health Collective, live Saturday afternoons at 5 p.m. here on 1150 a.m. KKNW.
Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up.
Welcome to the Total Health Collective here on 1150 a.m. KKNW. I am your host, Don Nacho Yescas. Welcome to our show today. What a week for most of us here in the Northwest. Sun, rain, snow, it's been crazy. It's just been a week for me. One of those weeks, I've been in a slump. Couldn't figure out why. We always talk about how the elements, the weather can affect us and what have you. And last week's show, let me go back a little bit. So it was CannaCon week last week, and we decided to make it on medical marijuana and the many health benefits of that. And after that show, last Sunday, I had the headache from hell that lasted all the way into Monday. And, Monday was President's Day, and it threw the rest of my week off a little bit, just in my everyday, day-to-day operations. But I just felt like in a funk, it was just one of those weeks. And, the elements, the weather does impact our how we go about our business. And the snow did impact my business, per se, on how I operate as well, it just really threw me off. I even got friends who are mediums, and they couldn't even get a reading on me. They were like, "Man, I'm sorry. You're just very blah. You're just very bland. There's nothing there. No one's coming through. There's nothing I can tell you. It's just you're having one of those weeks, I'm like, it's all good. It's bound to happen. You can't always be in cloud nine, Wednesday got better for me. And on Friday, I attend these business meetings with small entrepreneurs. And there was a gentleman, and God bless his soul, he was trying to sell me on a company, Univera, which sells aloe vera products and whatnot. And it got me thinking about all the health products out there and all we do to really try to stay healthy. There's so many products out there, so many health products, there's so many diets and whatnot. And so I figured, I would make our show on Kratom and Keto, the keto diet. So many great things on these subjects. And so I figured, why not discuss them? I have a friend, Jason Lee Erickson, who's heavily involved into the Kratom movement industry, and he's very adamant about what he does. And I would love to bring him on the show in the next few weeks and hear from his perspective on this herbal product that is helping certain people, right? It's not for everybody, and I'll admit it. I don't even know that much about it, which is why I want to discuss it now. Just like medical marijuana. I remember last week I pointed out a few doctors who didn't know much about medical marijuana. They were just pushing what they were told to push, whether it be sponsored or what have you. I feel that Big Pharma is behind a lot of this as well. It's funny how it's a Schedule 1 substance, and there's so many things out there that are just that much more harmful, yet they're not on Schedule 1. And so the opiate addiction is a serious crisis. It really is, and it has a big toll and impact on our health and our friends and families. And so when talking to Jason about this product, it opened up my eyes a little bit. I don't know much about it. So I did some research, and I thought I would share, just some of these things, some of these benefits, the pros and cons, I guess, right? You be the judge of it. But let's play a clip on there's a clip from the Washington Post that comments on Kratom. So let's hear it on that.
I heard you. Come on. You want a bone? There's a lot of misconceptions about what Kratom is, what the average Kratom consumer is. Sit. There you go. Okay, you go.
This is Kratom, an herb that comes in the form of pills, powder, and tea. Some Americans say it helps them deal with pain, anxiety, and opioid withdrawals. But the Food and Drug Administration is calling the compounds found in the plant opioids. They say Kratom can be very dangerous, warning of side effects like respiratory depression, seizures, and even death. The FDA is aware of 44 deaths associated with Kratom-containing products between April 2011 and December 2017.
For me, I generally will take Kratom during the daytime, and it has a calming effect on me. Because I was dealing with fairly severe post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety, I was kind of just shuffled off. The nice part is one of those things that has helped me quite a lot is Kratom.
So what exactly is Kratom? It's a tropical evergreen tree native to Southeast Asia. The main components of Kratom are two alkaloids, mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine. Alkaloids are a group of chemical compounds containing nitrogen that are naturally found in plants. They're known for their powerful physiological effects. Some well-known alkaloids are nicotine, caffeine, cocaine, and morphine. The FDA says 22 of the compounds found in Kratom bind strongly to the brain's opioid receptors and to receptors that may contribute to stress responses that impact neurological and cardiovascular function.
The sensations that people get from Kratom are largely related to its biological effects. They have alleviation of pain, they have improved wakefulness and attentiveness to different tasks. It's been used for generations in Southeast Asia as a treatment for opium addiction and overuse. Opponents of Kratom would tell you that it's associated with seizure disorder. There's also been kidney and liver failure. And they would also say that there are a growing number of deaths that have been associated with Kratom use.
The Food and Drug Administration issued a public health advisory for Kratom, saying it has similar effects to narcotics and it carries risks of abuse, addiction, and death. The FDA also said that there are reports of Kratom being laced with opioids like hydrocodone. In 2016, the DEA announced its intent to put Kratom on its Schedule I list, which is reserved for only the most dangerous drugs.
If they schedule Kratom as a Schedule I substance and its components are also classified as Schedule I, then doing research with it is going to be difficult.
The DEA hasn't said if it will try again to regulate Kratom as a controlled substance. But the American Kratom Association estimates that 3 to 5 million people in the U.S. have used or are using it. Kratom has already been banned in Alabama, Arkansas, Indiana, and Wisconsin. Several other states have pending legislation to ban it.
Okay, that was from the Washington Post. Now let's hear. Everybody knows Joe Rogan, and he's very outspoken and has a very colorful vocabulary. So let's just hear a clip on his perspective.
Did you hear about all those people dying from heroin overdoses because there was a bad batch of heroin in like Ohio or something, and like 41 people have overdosed on like the same heroin or something?
I did hear about that. Yeah. Did you hear about that? How do you say that stuff? Kratom? How do you say it? Kratom? Kratom? How do you say it?
So you're probably close.
Kratom, maybe. I don't know how to say it. I've never said it, but I've read about it a lot. And it's a plant that helps people overcome opiate addiction, apparently. And the FDA just moved it to Schedule I, or they're going to move it to Schedule I, or the DEA, I should say. I guess it's the DEA, right? But it's a plant. And apparently it helps a lot of people that have heroin addiction problems and opiate addiction problems. And even some people said it helps with not marijuana, but alcohol withdrawals. Like people are alcoholics and they try to break free and get sober. This stuff can help with that too. I don't know enough about it. You know, I'm gonna have someone on to talk about it, but it's just there's no need to make anything else illegal. Like this thing where they're doing, like what they're doing is they're behaving like an archaic society. They're not behaving like America 2016. They're behaving like the people who enacted the very first sweeping psychedelic laws of 1970. They're behaving like they behaved. If you've got this plant, this kratom or however you say it, and it doesn't have any history of people like dropping dead from it. It's not like some threat to the communities. It's not like this terror that's sweeping the streets and it's ruining lives. You're not hearing that. All I'm hearing is it helps people with heroin addiction. We all know how many people are addicted to heroin. So the fact that they just want to step in and immediately not just make this like a Schedule 2 or a Schedule 3 or have some scientists come in and testify about it and have some sort of public hearings where they discuss the merits of keeping this drug legal and should this be regulated, should it be prescribed by doctors.
All right, you can hear the full clip on Joe Rogan on thishealscancer.com. You go to the blog section and you can see and hear all the videos. I play that video because he makes a great point. And yeah, it's hard to pronounce. Kratom. There's so many ways of pronouncing this thing. But the important thing is that this is a plant. It's an herb they were saying, from Southeast Asia that has some medical benefits to a certain extent, right? I mean, we said that, opiate addiction, major crisis, not only here in the U.S., but around the world. And now there's a potential to help someone kind of with withdrawals and help someone fight this. And I figured, you would listen to Joe Rogan's perspective on this because he makes a great point, valid points, not only on that, but even medical marijuana. It's already a Schedule 1 drug, and it's crazy how they mention it's very harmful, it's very dangerous, yet you can go to the retail cannabis shops around here and buy it. Right, it's so dangerous that it's helping people. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's nuts, and we needed to look into this. We really do. I mean, I know it's a new thing, but if it has the potential to help someone overcome a serious addiction, just like you heard on the first video, a combat veteran with PTSD who used it to help them with certain withdrawals and whatnot, there might be some medical benefits to it. So. Anyhow, thishealscancer.com, go into the blog section, you can see all these videos on this very topic and make up your own opinion. So anyways, we'll take a quick break and we'll continue with our discussion on Kratom and Keto.
Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up.
Ever board a plane on a really cloudy day? The sun is out, but you can't see it. However, once the plane reaches an altitude above the heavy cloud cover, dynamic blasts of light reveal gorgeous blue skies, and you can see for hundreds of miles in all directions, clearly. In our lives, under emotional and mental overcast, navigation without the proper tools can be very difficult and confusing.
Hi, I'm Michelle Holbein, owner of Silver Linings Life Coaching, and I am thrilled to talk to you about seeing your life above the clouds. Are you stuck? In transition? Working together will create success in the altitudes of life you dream of from where you are right now. Ready for a powerful conversation about propelling past those clouds that run your life? Get on board for the life you know you could have, living into what's on just the other side, thanking every single cloud we pass, knowing there are just as many silver linings.
Visit Michelle today at silverliningslifecoaching.com. That's silverliningslifecoaching.com.
Are you still suffering from a chronic, painful condition that will just not go away? Ever wonder what else there is that would help you experience the health and life that you were designed to have?
Hi, my name is Nacho Yescas, and I am the host of Total Health Collective, live Saturday afternoons at 5 p.m. here on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. Tune into our network and let our network tune into you. Let our Total Health Collective be your Total Health Connected.
Tune in Saturdays 5 to 6 on 11:50 a.m.
Your business is not about criminals. When hiring new employees or protecting your premises, no one thinks they are bringing in someone who is untrustworthy or that they have an unguarded arena. But it happens. In this world, there's no such thing as 100% guaranteed security. However, at Apache 6, we are 100% ready to help you create the layers necessary for optimal outcome, whether hiring new staff or securing your business. From vetting, access control, and cybersecurity to surveillance and workplace awareness training, we work 24/7 to reduce compromised safety and the millions of dollars lost every day by way of employee theft and imminent outside dangers. From vetting, access control, and cybersecurity to surveillance and workplace awareness training, we work 24/7 to reduce compromised safety and the millions of dollars lost every day by way of employee theft and imminent outside dangers. Your business was never meant to be about criminals, and our job here at Apache 6 is to help you stop the criminal before there is a crime.
Call us at Apache 6 today, 866-222-7715. That's 866-222-7715.
Bored with the other stations, hammering away on the same old talking points? Try Alternative Talk 1150 and get some variety.
I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
Welcome back to Total Health Collective here on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Nacho, and our topic today is Kratom and Keto. Before the break, we were listening to a couple clips on some of these benefits for some folks on Kratom and what it is, right? I don't know much about it. I have a friend, Jason Lee Erickson, who is getting into the business, and I figured I would just, do a topic about it now, because I think it's important that we start looking into the pros and cons of some of these things. I've never heard of it. But it's a plant, it's an herbal plant. And the more I look into it, it makes me want to look into it even more. Just like with medical marijuana, many people will swear that there's no benefits to that. And other people will say that's quite the opposite. And it's funny how Uncle Sam can say that it's a Schedule I drug and there's no benefits, yet they have a patent on a certain strand of medical marijuana. So anyways, it's crazy. But I think it's important that we discuss these things. So I'm going to play you another clip on, this one's a weird one. So it's a couple of doctors. It's a TV, maybe YouTube channel. They call themselves a Doctors TV. And it's a panel of doctors with a couple guests on the subject of Kratom. And then 3 additional guests who are PhD doctors. And one of them was a former product association or Natural Products Association gentleman with the FDA by the name of Daniel Fabricant. And if you listen to this clip, he has a final say on this thing. So let's listen to that.
Information. Yeah. Well, and that's why this debate is so compelling, because when you lack information, you're making guesses. And I feel like I'm up here on this stage, and I came into this debate completely open-minded, and I feel like I still need more information. Correct. Because I understand completely where you're coming from. I'm drawn to the arguments that if there's absolutely no formal studies out there, and we're just having people wing it, that scares me.
I think we can probably agree, at least from the medical side, that it sounds like there is potential. There's definitely possibly a nice role for this, but just it hasn't been adequately studied. We don't know the dosage. We don't know some of the other potential side effects, interactions, things that we like to know when we start to make claims.
Are any formal studies?
It's what I think you're starting to tell us about.
There have been studies at Ole Miss, at the University of Massachusetts. There are studies going on right now at Stanford University, at Columbia University.
Aren't adequate to get things in the food supply.
And
even things like this
Kettering.
had to do really substantial. We're talking about replacing sugar. They're talking about replacing opium, heroin, Suboxone. So again, I think this is a food.
Warnings, and we're told that they're okay, and now they're and now
that's
the
a drug. That's not a
has
food.
been called into question.
This country has laws. We generally try to follow them.
Well, we need a transition period if the framework doesn't allow for this. And medicine, supplement, anything you put in your mouth or your body, you're looking for some physiological response. Whether you take an antacid, you take a laxative, you take Tylenol, but I think that sort of rigid approach is counterproductive, and I think you can't measure the lives that will be lost if you withdraw this.
So I want to ask the 3 of you, because addiction specialists and Daniel, you've spent so much time dealing with these types of issues. You have 3 individuals here whose lives have been, they say, improved, whether directly or indirectly, by using this. How do you move forward in a way that doesn't completely wreck their lives, get the studies, and if this does prove to be beneficial in some way, shape, or form, do it in the right way? Is there any path forward? Because that's where I'm not an expert, I'm not a regulator, I'm just a doctor.
There is a path forward, Travis, and it's pretty clear. It's outlined in the Food, Drug, Cosmetic Act. If you're going to sell as a supplement, 1, you're not going to make these types of claims, and 2, there are studies that need to be done. Those studies haven't been done. The companies selling the products haven't reinvested in the science to show that these side effects, there's clearly questions of harm here. here. So I think that given our structure that we don't want to put it, just like 3 people have been helped, there have people been harmed. So if there's potential for harm, we owe it to not just 3 Americans, but all Americans to make sure that that potential isn't real. And that's the basis of our laws. And anyone who wants to sell a product should have to go through, there's no special exemption. My daughter also thinks that when I kiss her finger and she has a boo-boo, that it helps it heal. Well, my lips aren't getting approved by the FDA anytime soon, no matter how much she believes that.
Leave it to the folks with the FDA to push an agenda or, kind of cover themselves on certain things. Not saying this gentleman is correct or incorrect, but why aren't they taking this kind of stance on other drugs? The drugs that are being pushed down our throats, knowing that there's harmful impacts or side effects, and it's killing us. Why aren't they pulling these kind of drugs off the market? Why aren't they on the Schedule 1 list? It just makes you think. And let's play this last clip on Kratom. Let's just play that.
Among other things, it means no extra federal funds will be paid into helping fight the crisis.
That could change. We'll be watching, of course. This is some addicts are now turning to a little-known plant called Kratom as a treatment. What is that? Our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, investigates.
Everything hurts. You're sick. You're nauseous. You're throwing up, diarrhea. Your will to live is gone.
Withdrawal from opiate drugs. Many will tell you that you continue to use because after a while, it's no longer about getting high. It's to chase away the feeling you're about to die. For Patricia Slavin, it all started 4 years ago with abdominal pain and a prescription for Dilaudid. It was the first time in her life she had ever taken an opiate.
They upped the dose, and it just kept to the point where I was taking a very high dose of pain. I had to get on pain management.
Every month they say, how are you? And I say, well, it's not really helping as much. I'm still in a lot of pain. Okay, well, add this to it, this pill, and then this patch.
Lisa Vinson, Patricia's younger sister, also had abdominal pain. Over the past 10 years, she's had 5 operations, including a hysterectomy. And yes, she also had lots and lots of narcotics.
I was torn between not being able to care for my family or, okay, I can take care of them if I just take some more pills.
Within months, 2 sisters, Lisa and Patricia, were both addicted to opioid painkillers. But things would soon turn even more desperate for Patricia.
Every time they give me more, my body just get immune to it. But then if I didn't have it, I get sick, real sick.
So what'd you do?
There was a guy that I worked with, his wife had Dilaudid, but she didn't like them, she didn't take them, so he would sell me what she had so that if I ran out, then I still had some.
But one day, that same guy didn't have any pills and offered up a cheaper alternative, heroin.
And the rest, as they say, is history. It just went downhill from there.
She called asking for money for more heroin, and I told her, I will not send you money for drugs. I will not. But I will buy you Kratom.
Kratom. Around the world, Kratom, an herb, has been used for centuries to help people manage pain, but also for the withdrawal from opium. Lisa knew from personal experience.
The reason I started taking it was because I didn't want to withdraw. I had no idea that it was going to help me with the pain like it did.
We definitely believe that this could be a solution to, or part of a solution to, the opioid crisis that we're currently in.
Christopher Mccurdy is a medicinal chemist. He's also one of just a handful of scientists in America studying the Southeast Asian plant.
I don't see anything that rivals or even comes close to the ability for this plant to serve as a potential treatment.
And yet, in the U.S., it is banned in 6 states, and the DEA considers it a drug of concern over worries of potential addiction and even some reported deaths. According to Mccurdy, that concern is because Kratom is not regulated and has been mixed with other drugs.
Definitely, there needs to be regulatory measures put into place with this plant material, But there is a huge wealth of anecdotal evidence out there and some scientific that there is definite medical potential for this plant.
For something so promising, you may be wondering why others, including big companies, haven't investigated it. Part of the problem, it is a plant, and that means no one can patent it.
There's no financial incentive for any drug company to really pursue developing this into a drug.
How does the future look for you now? Your family, all your teenage kids that you have?
Bright. It looks beautiful. I have hope.
How confident are you that you won't go back to heroin?
Never fully confident. Never fully confident.
Right.
It's a powerful drug. But I think as long as I have Kratom, as long as I can get it, me personally, I'll never go back.
I think the first question anybody will ask watching these two sisters, is it too good to be true? Kratom is something that is simple as kratom, a naturally occurring plant able to treat heroin addiction. And the reality is we don't know because this hasn't been studied thoroughly in the United States. Lots of data, hundreds of years worth of usage in other countries, starting to get more attention by the scientific community. But this is always the challenge. If something is deemed not to be beneficial, already outlawed in several states in the United States, how likely is it to actually get studied? That's the big question. Also, it's worth pointing out that many of these supplements simply aren't regulated. So if you buy Kratom in the store, you may not know that you're getting Kratom exactly. You may not know the dosage you're getting. You may not know if it's mixed with something else. These are problems that need to be solved. But if there is a plant out there, an herb, which can make a dent in this opioid crisis, I assure you, John and Poppy, this is something that a lot of people want to know about. John, Poppy?
They do, and this is the first time that I've heard of it. Sanjay Gupta, thank you for investigating, for the reporting.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of information on Kratom, how it was pronounced. But, there's something to look into. We don't know. That's why I figured I bring it up for discussion, and who knows, down the road we'll know more, right? With more evidence, more scientific evidence, whatnot. But I find it funny that the doctor Sanjay Gupta with CNN did report on that, because last week I played a clip where he was so against medical marijuana, and then he obviously made a correction and apologized on TV and said, "Look, I take back what I said. There is medical benefits to medical marijuana." So anyways, it's up for debate. But switching gears now, keto. I've heard so many things about keto and keto diets and the latest and greatest on this. So let's play a quick clip on how keto is explained in less than 5 minutes.
The keto diet, another typical fad diet, actually has been around for a while now, and people get some pretty good results from it. So what exactly is so different? Well, most of these fad diets you find simply tells you to eat this certain type of food and avoid those certain type of food, and voila, you're on your way to losing 100 pounds. Of course, a lot of them don't really work and makes very little sense. What's special about the keto diet, short for ketogenic, is that it changes how your body feels, and most importantly, how your body uses energy by placing you into a state known as ketosis. And this is where all the magic happens. In ketosis, your body starts utilizing substances known as ketone bodies, which are produced by the breakdown of your body fat triglycerides. Quick science, first understand that your body loves glucose. If it has glucose on hand, it's going to use that first for energy. In a keto diet, the amount of carbohydrates you consume goes down, therefore the amount of glucose goes down too. In order to combat this, your body uses stored glucose in the form of glycogen, but that's going to run out as well. The next step is to convert a substance known as oxaloacetate in the liver into glucose. At the same time this is happening, your body's breaking down your fat into free fatty acids and sending it to your liver to metabolize another important substance known as acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is then placed into the Krebs cycle in the liver cells to produce energy. But it can't do that right now. Remember that oxaloacetate that was being broken down into glucose? Well, oxaloacetate is also needed for the Krebs cycle to function. Now your liver has all of these acetylcholine lying around, so it decided to break it down into two substances called acetoacetate and beta-hydroxybutyrate, which are known as ketone bodies. It sends them into the bloodstream where other body cells pick them up, convert the ketone bodies back into acetylcholine into the Krebs cycle, and energy is produced. This is also really good news for your brain, since even though your brain loves glucose too, it can function on ketone bodies as well. In fact, ketone bodies provide more energy per gram for the brain versus glucose, so win-win for your mental capacity. Now so far, everything sounds good. Your body no longer relies heavily on carbohydrates, it burns a lot of fat, and your brain functions pretty well. But of course, there's always a catch. A number of catches in this case. Studies show that power output decreases in cases where maximum intensity is required. This makes sense because the breakdown of glucose via glycolysis plays a crucial role in providing immediate energy for your body. With no glucose and glycogen in your body, intense workouts become a lot harder. And the lack of glycogen also affects muscle growth, since there's a strong positive connection between glycogen availability and protein synthesis. Take the glycogen away and the process slows down. Oh, and there's the keto flu, something that happens when your body starts transitioning off of carbs and rely more heavily on ketone bodies. The keto flu, which isn't an actual flu, contains symptoms such as headaches, fatigue, coughing, nausea, and even upset stomach. The positive note though is that it passes quite quickly and won't come back again unless you come out of ketosis. The keto diet is also very food restrictive. A conventional diet has you eating roughly 20% fat, 30% protein, and 60% carbs. The keto diet, on the other hand, shifts you all the way to 70% fat, 25% protein, and 5% carbs, or below 30 grams. That's a huge change that some people just cannot do. Cutting out so many carbs is easier said than done. This is a huge battle itself, and a lot of times a losing battle. But even with the drawbacks, people still advocate for it. And the reason that's the case can be summed up from this study in 2004 from the Annals of Internal Medicine. A low-carbohydrate diet, such as a keto diet, had better participant retention compared to a low-fat diet. That is saying, even though with all the drawbacks, individuals on a keto diet find it much easier to stick to the diet more so than a conventional diet. This is because with so much more fat and protein-dense foods, your satiety or fullness level goes up much faster. A 200-calorie chicken breast or 200 calories worth of green leafy vegetables will make you feel more full than, say, a 200-calorie carb-heavy pasta. But even if this is the case, a calorie is still a calorie. Yes, protein and fat calories will make you feel more full, but it won't help you lose weight if you're still eating more calories than you burn. So is the keto diet worth it? Well, it all comes down to, it depends. If you're someone that struggles a lot with feeling full whenever you go on a weight loss diet, then yes, the keto diet might help you battle those feeding frenzies. Just remember those drawbacks that will occur, and at the end of the day, it still comes down to calories in versus calories out. What's your take on the keto?
All right, so that's just one of many examples on keto online, social media, what have you. But, ladies and gentlemen, in the studio, I have with me Christine Cisneros from the Confessional on Sundays. And let me tell you, she, in my opinion, is an expert on keto. Christine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Nacho. And I don't know about expert, but I think that what I love about what you do with your show in encouraging people to look at how they are able to heal themselves, remove the blocks to their experience of their health. What I find with this is that, there's no need to have, this explanation. Like, I just don't think there's ever a time when you have to explain to anybody what works for you as far as like, oh, I need your validation, or I need you to accept it, or I need you to approve of it. And sometimes I think there's a lot of that goes on out there. Yeah. And what I have to say is prove it to yourself. See what works for you. Sometimes things don't work as well for some people as others. But I'm so glad that you had me on the show today, and I'll try to quickly kind of sum up my experience with keto.
Yes.
Because I think what's most important about this is what I've experienced.
Well, that's why, yeah, and you're the example. We talked about this in the past, and what better way? I mean, I can Google, YouTube, all kinds of things on keto, but to hear from you, because you are that example, and to hear from you directly, it's awesome. And I would love for you to share it with everyone else.
Well, thank you. And I love the fact that there's so many people that have done this work and that I've been able to benefit from their knowledge, but most importantly, been able to benefit from the encouragement of experimentation, finding out what works for me. Just to tell you a little bit of why this is so important, my dad died at 42 of diabetes. I am a diabetic. I'm a type 2 diabetic, so is my father. It is in my family, and not because of genealogy. I don't believe in the genetics or the DNA predisposition to diabetes or anything else. What I believe is that it's the habits. It's what you're putting in the tank. So what this is, diabetes, and I think that keto is so completely important for diabetics. I know a ton about nutrition. I know a ton about food. But what I didn't know was this missing link. And this missing link makes so much sense to me. Just to give you a background on what happened with me, I got sick in November. My birthday is around, it is on Halloween, so it's around that sort of holiday season. And every year it's like, here's Halloween, and all of a sudden I'm waking up after all the pumpkin pie, all the cake, the candy, the eggnog, everything, and it's January 12th, and I don't know where the fall and the winter went. Well, this year I got really sick around my birthday, and it was the transition into doing keto was very simple and easy for me because I couldn't eat anything because I was sick. And so once I started reintroducing things, and I'd had this information while I was sick reading it, I started to do the keto diet, and it was so easy. I just don't know how to emphasize how simple and easy it has been. I decided during the holidays that if I really did want something to eat, like cake, pie, and you know me, we love Maggiano's, right?
Yeah, all the goodies.
It's a little shout out for them, but man, they have great food.
They do.
Well, every week after the show, I was there. I'm eating what I want during the week. And right before my birthday, it got to be like out of control Vitamix kind of thing, right? So what happened was I thought to myself, if I really want something during the holidays, then I'm going to have something. And let me tell you, my birthday came and went. Thanksgiving came and went. Christmas came and went. New Year's came and went. And not once was I tempted or even interested, shall I say, in having anything. I even walked through the Pike Place Market on New Year's or Christmas Eve. It started snowing. It was so wonderful. I know how to have a good time in the Pike Place Market with food. And I passed by all this stuff and nothing called out to me. Why? Because the cravings were gone. We treat drug addicts, we treat drug addiction we need to deal with these symptoms, which you're talking about with Kratom and all of these other things that have to do with helping the person retain their control over their biology, over their urges, over their these sensitivities that they have. In fact, I just heard from an addiction center person, a leader, that once you can get people off of the painkiller, that their pain sensitivity goes down by, they're not as sensitive to pain. It goes down by 50%, so they're tougher. And so when you think about food and how food affects you, what was happening was I'm like, there's no way in Hades that I'm ever going to not have pasta, bread, and all these things that we enjoy. And once this hit, I was just amazed. Last January, my diabetic numbers, and for those who are not familiar with the A1C, it's a measure of your blood and the sugar it sits in for 3 or 4 months. Normal people are supposed to be around 5 or 6. Mine was 14. My waking glucose, which is supposed to be 110, 110, somewhere in there, was 348. Wow. And so November, or midweek, 2 weeks into November, I started keto. 2 weeks into January, I went for my blood test. My A1C was at 7.9, and my waking glucose was 139. Blood does not lie.
Yeah.
And neither does how I feel. The blurb that you were playing where the guy was saying, well, there's the keto flu, there's this, there's that.
Right.
Well, there's also getting off of the symptoms of your addiction. There's all of that, sure. But the real thing is I have more energy than I've ever had in my life. I don't have headaches anymore. I have my ability to heal is much stronger. I just threw my shoulder out last week doing something stupid.
Right.
And it hurts a little bit now, but it's quick. Everything is faster. And when people talk about, you don't have enough energy for the gym, you can always carb up a little if your activity level is going up. But the real deal is, are you able to get rid of these cravings? Secondarily, you must pay attention to the quality of your food. If you are eating bacon bits, fried in this and that, that's like a hydrogenated oil, all these other things, fake sweeteners, stuff like that, you're going to have a problem. Even if you weren't on keto, you'd have a problem eating that.
Right, yes.
So it's important to have high quality food. And the other misconception is that it's high protein. It is not. And here's a fact that most people don't know. If a diabetic eats a lot of protein, you will convert it to glucose. That will cause you to have a blood sugar spike. So it's important to stick to the 70% fat, avocado, coconut. I eat bacon. I eat lots of butter. I eat cream.
Yeah.
I do not eat lean meat ever. It doesn't do anything for me. There's nothing in there for me. fat is where it's at. In fact, I'll be doing a whole series on my show called Fat of the Land, and I'll be going to KetoCon 2018 in Austin, Texas, between June 15th and June 17th, because I want to be around people who are so inspired to create a way for people to let go of this misconception that you must stay sick in order to get any attention or help. The last thing is the 5 to 10% carbs. I went 4 months without eating fruit. I mean, and now I have berries once in a while, like raspberries or blueberries, but I lived on bananas. Bananas were my life.
Yeah.
I have not had bananas forever. And it doesn't bother me. I really thought it was going to bother me. I really thought and I was crying and snotting, you know, like my numbers at 10 months is going to die, you know. And it's just, it is not the case. So what I would encourage people to do is look up a couple of people that really, I looked through a lot of information, and there are a few people that might help you. If you're a diabetic, if you're someone that is suffering from these things, if you're overweight, if you've got a big waist, I did lose about 20 pounds. I'm happy about that. I'm happy that I'm going to lose more, but most importantly, I'm happy that I feel better. A few people you want to check out, 2 keto dudes. You can look at them online. You can also look at one of my very, very favorites, Healthy Pursuit, and that's Leanne Vogel. Dr. Mark Hyman. He also has a few books out and a few videos. Butter Bob is hilarious. He's this Southern guy, and he takes you to Walmart, shows you what you can buy to be on the keto diet.
Love that.
Jimmy Moore and Dr. Eric Westman do Keto Clarity. It's a nice book. But just get yourself acquainted, and don't fault yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't shame yourself. There's a lot of shame for diabetics and overweight people. There's a lot of that garbage that goes around. You are not your condition. And one more side note. I heard from an eye doctor, that diabetics are actually physically superior. And you know why? Because they did a whole study of these people that came out of the concentration camps after World War II. The largest demographic were type 2 diabetics. Why? Because they hold on to every fat cell, every calorie, every unit of energy, unless they absolutely have to use it. The problem is when there is no famine. And that's what we have to decide, whether or not we're going to treat our bodies like the Maserati that it is and put really high-octane gas in it appropriately, or we're going to put water in it and say there's something wrong with the Maserati when it sputters down the road.
Right.
That's where it's at. So encourage yourself, look at this information objectively, and know that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. There's only something a little off about what you're doing with your food, and that is it.
No, you're absolutely right, and I love those points. You know, when we go to, for example, for me, I went to the gym on Tuesday, and I've already said my A game was not there this week, and President's Day really threw me off. And I went to the gym, and I thought I had the energy. I didn't. I started sprinting up an incline, and maybe I pushed myself too much, you know, and I felt like throwing up, you know. And I was like, I'm not exactly overweight, but I'm not in the best shape either, you know. But I had the headache from hell, and I look back this week on the things that I consumed and what I ate or didn't eat. And yeah, there's a lot of things too, like you're saying, that what we eat does impact it has a tremendous amount of impact on our health and how I am, you know. And I would admit, this week I did a couple drive-thrus through McDonald's, and I'm not proud of it, you know. And you're right, though. It's what we consume or how we eat it and the things that we put in our body. It has a major impact on our health. And, you know, you and I have discussed keto before, and I love those points that you said about, remember you discussed how it's almost like a bear hibernating.
Right, the bear thing, right.
Yes. Can you tell me about, tell us.
Absolutely. And I just want to say that what you put in your body is really important, but it's also important what you put in your mind. And what I love about you is you encourage people to meditate. You really got me going with that. To sit still, to really pay attention to what you're thinking, because that's also part of your nutrition, okay? But the bear thing, I love the bear thing.
Yes,
okay?
I love it.
So what happens with bears, this is interesting, I just found this out, that bears, when they hibernate in the winter for 3 or 4 months or something like that, they actually are type 2 diabetics before they go into hibernation. Right before they go in, they are diabetic. Why? Because they spend all that time clawing and eating all these berries and stuff. You know, they're like, berries. And they might eat some salmon, but that's not very fatty. Come on, get the fat in, right? But they, the berries and all that stuff, and they're eating honey and whatever. So then what do? Well, they fall asleep, of course, because after you eat all that sugar, you're going to fall asleep. So they fall asleep in their little hibernation. What keeps them alive for 3 or 4 months? Their fat. So what happens with people is that you go from being someone who just burns the immediate carbs that you bring in, or the over protein that you're eating, which turns into glucose. Your body's really going to work hard to either burn that or go to the actual gold mine that's around your stomach and start eating the fat, because whether you're eating or not, you're eating. And so when an overweight diabetic person, the best thing they can do is convert from a glucose carbohydrate burner to someone who is burning their own fat and consuming the best possible nutrition that way. And one last thing I have to say about, I know this is going to sound weird, but it is absolutely true, and you can probably ask a bear. And that is, I do not eat any grain. I brought some things here today to show you guys.
Yeah.
I make my own crackers out of flax, sesame seed, and chia. I have almonds that I've sprouted, dehydrated, dipped them in stevia and cinnamon, and put them in the dehydrator. The best sweetener I've ever found in my life here is this stuff called Sweet Leaf. Shout out to Sweet Leaf. It's a stevia. You got to be careful of your sweeteners because they will put other garbage in them, especially like, xylitol, erythritol, things like that. Make sure it's pure. And also, I brought in chocolate. Yes, chocolate. You want to have it be 80% or more, but chocolate is really good for you. Salt. Make sure you're getting enough salt, because once your body starts burning that fat and you're dealing with that stuff, you've got to have enough salt and electrolytes in your body to help yourself out. These are the things, these are the little addendums that I've discovered. But first and foremost, if you just get rid of those cravings, get rid of the overproduction of ghrelin in your gut, which signals to you that you must consume. And then you go, well, that means I need to eat food, which means I need to eat what's in front of me. Wrong. And really start fostering that way for you to do that. And I also do intermittent fasting every day. I don't eat all day. I eat from maybe 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening till probably about midnight, because I go to bed around 2. That's my window of eating. And ironically, years ago, I lost 100 pounds crying and sweating and snotting. And it was just natural for me to get up, do some work, go to the gym, come back, take a shower, get dressed. And by the time I ate, it was 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And everybody's, oh, you can't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. You can't be working out like that. And it was the most natural thing for me to do, and I got away from it, and I became a diabetic. And now I'm here to tell you, you're doing the right thing if you're doing that.
Well, I love the fact that you lost 20 pounds just in your change of dieting.
I haven't even gone to the gym.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, right? And it's awesome. I applaud you for that, because really, I mean, we're it's almost March, at the beginning of the New Year's, we always have that resolution where this is my goal. I'm going to lose X, Y, Z pounds, and it's tough for people. It really is. And, we live in a society where we're very high, fast paced, and we don't eat properly. We're always on the go, go, go. And I'm one of those people, but your ingredients that you just discussed, it's how we change our dieting, and we don't have to go drastically on this thing.
No, and the thing is that, everybody has those resolutions, but when you are simultaneously not aware that something's going to kick the legs out from under your chair, you wonder why you're on the floor. Well, this is what happens over and over. And when you find out just how easy it is to make these foods and how much money you save because you're not buying all the packaged everything that you can possibly buy to be a keto diet person, when you learn to do these things yourself, super easy, and you feel great, that's something money can't buy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And on Wednesday, I went to meditation, and it dawned on me that I hadn't eaten all day. I had a banana in the morning, and then I might have had a granola bar right around 4 or 5 p.m. And then I went to meditation at 6. And after our meditation session, there was a gal who was like, hey, I'm new to meditation. Is it good to eat before or after? What's your opinion? What's your take? And, there is no right or wrong in this thing, but it made me think, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't eat all day. And I wasn't hungry, right? I usually eat when I'm hungry. I just do. And early in the mornings, they've always said that morning is the best time to eat breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day and what have you. But you're right. We have to change our way of thinking on how we approach our diet, our everything, really.
And your gut is your second brain. I think it's your first brain. So, your gut is going to tell you. Serotonin is not produced in your brain. It's produced in your gut. So if you're eating nasty food or you don't know why you feel, quote, addicted to certain things, it's because the serotonin in your gut is being interfered with. And there's a lot of things being interfered with. So once you deal with that, You're not dealing with willpower. Leave your willpower for more important things and just get this settled. Get the accounts up to date, get it settled, make it easier on yourself. You know, I mean, when you say that you're inspired by what I'm doing, it's like, well, okay, but it really isn't hard. So it's hard for me to accept that adulation. But I appreciate it, not from the point of view of like, oh, it's so difficult and look at I climbed a mountain. I appreciate it because it's just about opening your mind, and I was willing to do that.
And that's it, though. See, society is we're so used to having the traditional mindset like, look, we have to have breakfast in the mornings, 3 meals a day, and don't eat past 9 p.m. Now, look at your schedule. You know, you have a very unique schedule for most people, right? You're staying up until 1 or 2 a.m. And, you know, I'm not sure, do you eat past 9? Or is there a certain time where you're like, hey, I'm not going to eat beyond this point?
Yeah, probably about 12:30 or 1 in the morning.
Okay. See, that mindset, the traditional mindset of we're like, hey, we got to fast. And after 9 p.m., if you're going to eat something, just drink water, right? And that's that old mindset where like you just have to fast. And there's, you know, I think fasting is important to a certain extent. You know, every season.
It has to work for you.
It does.
It's like Dr. Phil says, how's that working for you?
Yeah. Right. And that's why I said I don't know much about keto. I've learned it because of you.
Yeah.
But it's remarkable that you lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
You haven't stepped into the gym.
Not yet.
And well, there you go. And
one last really important thing.
Absolutely.
The reason I haven't stepped into the gym also is because I've had an enormous amount of pain for a couple of years.
Okay.
In my joints and my legs and stuff like that. I don't have any pain anymore. I mean, I threw my shoulder out doing something stupid with an axe and some wood. But is that
a different story?
Yeah, that's a totally different story. But I don't have the inflammation anymore like I did.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to go back to the gym, and it's going to be a lot more fun because I'm not going to be like, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
So it's really about letting yourself help yourself to do. It's kind of like, you know, Jerry Maguire, help me, help you.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying to your body. Help me, help you. And that's what your body's going to do.
And that's what I'm always saying on the show, right? We have the power to heal ourselves. And I'm with you. I used to have pains in my knee. Used to always wear a knee brace when I had, I had a repaired meniscus that was completely shredded. And I gave into this mindset that, it is what it is. I'm never going to heal. I'm never going to be quite the same. And I changed that mindset. I said, you know what? No, that can't be. I'm going to change my mindset and how I approach my health. And I started getting better. I started healing myself. And the mediums, the healers out there, they have this mindset that we can heal everybody but ourselves, right? And I'm like, well, that's crazy thinking, you know? I'm going to change that way of thinking. And I started to, quote unquote, heal myself and do energy work on my knee. And I don't wear a knee brace anymore. I run to the gym. That's why I was running and sprinting up that the incline, you know, and about killed myself, about puking. But that just goes to show you that I'm no longer wearing my knee brace. I don't have to accept that way of thinking that, hey, I'm sorry, you just broke and that's the best you're going to do. I'm like, no, I can do more. I will be more. And I changed that mindset. So it's important that we look at our overall body.
And turning on the light for others. I mean, when I went for this checkup where I had the 7.9 A1C, she brought in 4 other doctors. What did you do? And I told them. So your show is all about, hey, you have it within you.
Yes.
And this, what you're doing every show is you're outlining, this is what you can do for this particular thing.
And by the way, folks, it's 5:55. Just want to throw that out there because you know what? I've experienced a lot of synchronicities here and there. On Wednesday, I had a lot of them. Today alone, get this, I was at Walmart, on the health section, looking for the, the tea tree oil, and peppermint oils. Because I had this nasty headache, and I was like, well, what's going to help me and whatnot? And my bill came down to $59.59, right? And before I came to the show, I stopped and got fuel, and it was $29.29. You know, and it's these little things like
and
that.
And you just said that, and it's 5:55 on my phone, but it says 29% power left.
See what I mean? So, I mean, just the energy is always working with us. You're right. It's how we approach our life. You know, it's the whole total mind, body, spirit. And you and I have had many discussions on the spiritual side of things and how we take our approach on life. I deal with folks who are dealing with family members who are going through a crisis. Just this week alone, I've dealt with two folks who have family members who have just got diagnosed with cancer. And, you know, but it's their approach and how they Well, yeah, really, it's how you look at it. You can either accept it and say, wow, there goes that. They're given 3 or 6 months to live. And if they're willing to accept that, then that's on them, right? That's their willpower. But if they're choosing to say, you know what, no, I'm going to be here for a lot longer than that. This is just a message, an awakening for me. It's the memo that, you know what, it's a reminder. I'm going to change my diet.
Well, and who are we to say that them dying from cancer, anybody dying from cancer, isn't part of their transition and healing onto the next thing? We don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is we have to return to what your show is about, and I love it, which is choice.
Mm-hmm.
What do you choose? What do you choose? Don't let anybody else be in charge of you, your experience of your health, and your experience on this planet as a spiritual person having a human experience.
That's it. We're here for the experience. Free will is everything, and we have to be tolerant and accepting of people's choices. I made that choice to change my mindset. That's why I feel strongly on meditation. It's for me. It's not for everybody. I strongly recommend it, but you are free to think and feel how you want to feel. But you're right. Other people cannot affect us and allow them to give them that power, and meditation is the key for me. It really is. And dieting. I mean, it's important. Like you said, we do have to change how we look at what we consume and our addictions and whatnot.
And let's return to enjoying our food.
Yes, that's it. I think was it the Biggleson brothers, right? Who said, "Hey, everything you eat it with love."
That's right.
That's it. Eat it with love. So, yeah, we can go on and on, but I just thought it was important to discuss the topics of Kratom and Kratom and keto. I didn't know much about it. I'm still learning. The story that you told me about keto is important. So
it's a tool.
It is. So love to be able to discuss it more, but that's all we have for now. Thank you for being on the show with me today.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe and stay fit. And remember, the power to heal yourself is within you. Good night.
Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up.